Here's your 1,000-word speech. Based on the title, she was called homeless until the Navy SEAL captain saluted her. Written without any headings, exactly as you requested. She was called homeless until the Navy SEAL captain saluted her. And in that single moment, everything people thought they knew about her, every assumption, every whisper, every judgment, collapsed like a house built on sand. Because sometimes, dignity does not need to shout. Sometimes, true honor lies hidden beneath layers of struggle, waiting for the right eyes to recognize it. For months, people had seen her sitting by the old bus stop on the edge of town. Wrapped in a faded coat, clutching a worn-out backpack and a small notebook, she blended into the background like a forgotten piece of scenery. Some avoided her, some pitied her, others dismissed her entirely. She was the woman everyone passed but no one truly saw. They called her names behind her back: homeless, lost, broken. They reduced her entire identity to her circumstances without ever wondering who she had been before life took a difficult turn. But life has a unique way of revealing the truth at the most unexpected time. On a bright morning, as the town prepared for the arrival of a visiting military team, everyone gathered near the square. Among them, unnoticed as usual, was the woman sitting quietly, observing everything with calm, sharp eyes that carried stories no one had bothered to hear. A convoy of military vehicles rolled in, and the community cheered. The Navy SEAL captain stepped out, a man known for his courage and leadership, wearing medals that reflected years of sacrifice and service. But as he stepped forward to greet the officials waiting for him, something caught his eye. A small, familiar movement. A gesture he recognized instantly. It was the way the woman held herself, straight-backed, disciplined, watchful. Not like someone beaten by life, but like someone trained to stand strong no matter how heavy the burden. He paused mid-stride, narrowing his eyes as memories resurfaced. And then, with absolute purpose, he walked away from the welcoming crowd and headed toward her. People watched in confusion. Why was the commanding officer walking toward a woman they barely acknowledged? When he reached her, the captain stopped directly in front of her. And with the respect of one warrior to another, he raised his hand and saluted. The world went silent. The onlookers stared, stunned and unsure of what they were witnessing. But the woman, slowly lifting her head, responded with a salute so crisp, so perfect, that it left no doubt, this was not an ordinary moment. This was recognition. This was honor meeting honor. Then the captain spoke loud enough for the entire crowd to hear. "Major Blake, ma'am, it's been years. I never thought I'd have the privilege of seeing you again." Gasps spread through the gathering like electricity. Major. The woman they had labeled homeless was a former officer. The captain continued, his voice heavy with emotion. "This woman trained me. She led missions that saved lives. She is one of the most disciplined, respected, and courageous officers I ever served under. She is a hero." Suddenly, the woman they had overlooked became someone entirely different in their eyes. But the truth was, she had always been that person. They had simply failed to look deeper. Tears filled her eyes as the captain knelt beside her. "Ma'am, why didn't you tell anyone who you were?" She smiled gently, a smile shaped by years of silence and storms. "Because people stopped asking," she replied. "And when no one asks, there is no place to tell your story." Those words struck the crowd harder than any reprimand could. They realized they had not only ignored her, they had erased her. They had allowed appearances to dictate her value. They had forgotten that every person carries a past, a history, and a journey that deserves to be heard. The captain turned toward the gathering and said, "Ladies and gentlemen, you walk past a hero every day. And not once did you stop to speak to her. Not once did you ask her name. This woman has sacrificed more for her country than most will ever understand." The townspeople looked down in shame. But the woman, Major Blake, held her head high. Because she had lived enough life to know that honor doesn't come from the approval of others. It comes from the truth you carry within yourself. The captain invited her to join the ceremony as a guest of honor, not because of her situation, but because of her service, her courage, and her identity. At first, she hesitated. She had been invisible for so long that stepping into the light felt unfamiliar. But then she stood, slowly and gracefully, with the kind of dignity that comes only from surviving battles most will never witness. As she took the captain's arm and walked toward the front, the crowd parted for her, not out of pity, but out of respect. The whispers changed, the looks changed, but she remained the same woman she had been all along, strong, resilient, trained, and honorable. When she spoke at the ceremony, her words held the quiet power of a person who had lived through storms and learned to stand tall afterward. She said, "Life took me down roads I never expected. I lost things I never thought I would lose. But I never lost my identity. I never lost my training. And I never lost my dignity, even when the world refused to see it." Then she added, "If you see someone struggling, don't be quick to judge. Don't assume you know their story. A person's worth is not written on their clothes or their circumstances. It's written in their character, their sacrifices, and their heart." The crowd erupted into applause, not because of her uniform, but because they finally understood what they had overlooked. And from that day on, the town changed. People walked slower. They greeted each other with sincerity. They treated strangers with respect. Because now they knew that every life carries a hidden chapter, and every person has a story worth hearing. She was called homeless until the Navy SEAL captain saluted her. But the truth is, she had always been more than what they saw. And sometimes, all it takes is one salute, one moment of recognition, to remind the world that even the quietest souls can carry the greatest courage. And in that moment, she wasn't just a woman sitting alone. She was a soldier, a leader, and above all, a human being deserving of the respect she had earned long before life took her